Hey Donald, you know you can't fly that drone without a license, like a Part 107, right? Because we're gonna put it on YouTube. You know better than that. People were wondering where I've been. So I've actually been trying to get the commercial drone license. Study for about 2 weeks. Don't do that. It's a lot harder than you think it's going to be. Trust me. You'll have no idea. GPS coordinates, all this other stuff. Absolutely terrible to do if you have no idea what you're doing. Either way, I did get a study guide, did do a course through Pilot Institute. Not sponsored, anything like that. It was kind of pricey. The test itself was $175, but you can use footage for YouTube, commercial. I can fly over a tower. Hell, I can fly anything less than 55 pounds too. So that's awesome and cool. So I will show you some drone footage here, and I'll go over the pros and cons of getting the Part 107, which is what they technically call the license, and everything else like that. So here we go. You know, I don't always look this good with these cool suspender like remote control here, but anyways, this is my second drone because I broke the first one. Not because I crashed it into something, but I charged this for like an hour with my normal Apple charger, and it literally would not turn on, and I had to return it to the DJI company. It took them like 2 weeks to send me a new one. The drone is fine, everything else is fine. This thing doesn't want to work, but it is a great remote control once you get it used to it, and it works. So for 100% sure, would get this controller, don't get the one without it. Pros and cons of the 107 here. So why did I take it? Recreationally, you can fly pretty much anywhere for the most part. Just don't post it. No one will know about it. At the same time, if you want better knowledge and everything else like that, get a Part 107, which is the commercial drone license. But if you do fly recreational, you're supposed to do a trust certificate, which is really easy. You can get it on the FAA website, sign up for it, or the Pilot Institute. Really just kind of basic knowledge, everything else like that. So really easy to do. So I'll tell you the reasons why I got mine. I film on YouTube, so I had to get it because maybe one day I'll be famous. Hopefully, but we'll see. Other thing is, maybe you want to shoot some real estate, shoot pictures, you want to do a church event, you're supposed to get a Part 107. Can you fly over people? Yes, but don't hover over them. Okay, people? Remember that. And if you fly at night, put a strobe light on your drone. Also, if you take the Part 107, you'll get a bunch of knowledge. Learn how to look at maps, read coordinates, learn when I can fly, learn what I can fly, what I can put on my drone, all the nooks and crannies. Can I fly over traffic? Yes, as long as you're transitioning. Can you fly over people? Yes, as long as there's not a bunch of people, and you can guard your propellers and all these other things. So you can learn so much stuff through taking the exam and studying for it. The knowledge is great. Granted, there are some nitpicky things about like airplanes, manned aircraft, things that you would never assume or want to know about, but it's actually quite interesting. The cons of the Part 107, you have to take an in-person test. So you have to physically go somewhere, schedule it, do all those things. You should study more than 2 weeks. Don't do what I did, okay? It is also $175. It's 60 questions. You get 2 hours to do it. Other thing is study material. You can look up all these things on YouTube, which is completely fine, but I knew whenever I took my exam, I was going to do some form of study course, and that's why I did the Pilot Institute. It's probably an overkill, but at the same time, it prepares you for any question that you can run into. So really, that's the only con that I can think of is the cost of it, especially if you just fly recreational. I'm gonna shoot some pictures, put it on Instagram. No one's probably gonna care about that at all. But if you have any inkling of trying to be more professional, you want better knowledge, it really is the way to go. Plus, you can always tell people you're a pilot, because technically I'm a pilot.
Is that what you think? You think?
Kind of like an English PhD is a doctor.
Damn!
That was a really bad jab. Either way, I broke my first drone. I got my license. I'm a pilot now. So up and away we go. And then people are going to say, well, what's on the test? So I'll do a general overview of what could be on the test. So we start off with loading and performance, which is basically physics. You go over the axis, lift, forces. That probably makes your head want to spin, but it's going to be on the test, like how this spins, how this moves, and everything else. Next thing is regulation, which is most important. When can you fly your drone? Can you fly it at night? Can you fly over people? What category? How much weight can you put on it? What can you put on it? Can you lift this up? Can you take toxic chemicals anywhere? So that one's pretty useful there. Next one is airport operation. So you'll learn how to read airport signs. You'll learn how airplanes fly in and go into the airport. You'll learn traffic patterns. You'll learn how to read certain traffic patterns. Next one is radio, which is really confusing. They have their own language, so you'll be doing Alpha, Bravo, Zulu, things like that. Frequencies, knowing what frequency to use, knowing if you need weather from that frequency, if you need to know air traffic control from that frequency, all of that will be on the test. Airspace, so there's different types of airspace near an airport. Is there Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D? It all makes sense if you actually get into it. Next thing is charts. This is like map. It's going to be a very busy chart. I'll show you one over here and then a one over here. I mean, it can get super, super busy. You'll need to know your coordinates, how to look at the chart, look at legends, know what it means, know where to fly, when you can fly, apps to download so you can fly in certain zones, things like that, how to get approval for certain zones. And then you'll learn how to read what they call METARs and weather reports. Look at this and look at this. It looks really confusing in its own language, but over courses, they will go over that and you will learn about that and you will get tested on it because there's a bunch of questions on it. Then you'll go over weather theory, you'll go over clouds, kind of like when you're in grade school and you learn about cumulonimbus clouds or stratus clouds and all these other clouds, or fog, or how fog works, or what kind of fog there is. I didn't even know there was that many fogs, dew points, numbers, pressure, things like that. And then decision making, which is very important. You shouldn't drink and fly your drone. You shouldn't do drugs and fly your drone. You shouldn't do crack cocaine and fly your drone. Not specifically, but you know what I mean. And then the last thing is going over maintenance, how you should, keep up with your drone. Should you change out this thing? What happens if it catches on fire? What happens if you lose it? What happens if all this other scenario happens? So it's like, oh, I wrecked my drone into a tree, but then the tree fell down and all this other stuff happened. Or I wrecked my drone and I caused this much damage. It tells you who to report to, how to report it, all of these things. And it's on the tests. But without making you, feel like you need to shit your pants, it's not as bad if you go over the course and you take your time. Everything's explained to you if you take a very dedicated study course and things like that. So don't panic. Either way, good luck. I passed mine a few days ago, so it does take you get the results immediately after the test, but it takes a few days before you get your certificate because you got to do all your application and whatnot. And then you get a nice fancy card in the mail here in the next few weeks. Hopefully I'll get mine. I will see you all. We'll use our drone in Hilton Head. I got a temporary airman certificate, so it'll work for right now. I have it downloaded on my phone. So either way, like, comment, subscribe. Best of luck.